Guys, I'm back, and today we're going to be comparing fractions like we did before, but this time around we're going to compare fractions with like numerators. So remember what we said. We have our fraction. This is the part. This is the total amount. So in this case, we have 3 out of 4. 3, the part, is the numerator. 4 is the denominator, the total amount of parts. So our rule for comparing fractions with like numerators is when comparing fractions with the same numerator, you're going to compare the denominator. You're going to think about the denominator and think about how many pieces something is cut into. So right here, I have 1/5 and 1/3. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths to make up one whole, 1, 2, 3 thirds to make up one whole. But if I compare one piece, one from each, so if I have 1/5 and 1/3, you're going to see that the 1/3 is bigger. So although 3 is less than 5, you have to think about it. If you have something and you cut it into 3 pieces, the pieces are going to be bigger. If you have something and you cut it into 5 pieces, well, the more pieces you start splitting it up into, the smaller each piece is going to become. So when we're comparing here, our first example is 2/5 compared to 2/3. So we're going to have 2/5. So I left up 2 of my 5. So I have 2 pieces, 1, 2, 2/5. And then down here, I'm going to have 2/3. So I have 2 pieces of each. I have 2 1/5 and 2 1/3. So when I'm looking at the denominators, I notice that they're different. This one is 5. So if something is cut into 5 pieces, each piece is going to be smaller than something that's cut into 3 pieces. So right here, 2/5 compared to 2/3, well, I can see 2/3 is bigger than 2/5. So I would use the less than symbol. 2/5 is less than 2/3. For this one, my numerator is 3. My numerator is 3. 3/8 compared to 3/4. So this time around, I'm thinking about my wholes, and my one whole in this fraction is cut into 8 pieces. So if I had a candy bar and I cut it up into 8 pieces, the pieces would be much smaller than if I had a candy bar and I only cut it up into 4 pieces. So you think about it, if you're sharing with your friends and there are 8 people or 4 people, well, when there's only 4, each person's going to get more because the pieces are bigger the less that you cut it in. So for this example, we have 3/8 compared to 3/4. I'm going to take away these and leave 3/8. I have 1, 2, 3, 3/8. 1, 2, 3. And then for this one, I have 3 out of 4. So I have 3/4. So now I have 3/8 compared to 3/4. So you see the 8 and you want to think it's bigger, but you have to really think about it. It's being cut into 8 pieces. So each piece is smaller. So 3 out of 8 is smaller than 3 out of 4. Or I would use my less than symbol. We have one more example for you. For this example, we're going to use fifths and we're going to use tenths. So I have fifths and I have tenths. So this is one whole. This, we can really think about it like a pizza. This is one whole. So these are both the same right now. They're both a whole. But what I'm going to be comparing is, what if I have 4/5 compared to 4/10? So I'm only going to have 1 out of the 5. There we go. So I have 1/5. This is how big it would be if I cut it into 5 pieces. And this one, if I cut it into tenths, it would be this big. So 1/5 is greater than 1/10. And you can see by looking at the pieces that if you cut it into 5 pieces, the pieces are going to be bigger than if you cut it into 10 pieces. So right here, when I'm comparing, I want to have 4/5. So this would be 4/5 right here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out of the total 5 pieces. On this bottom one with tenths, I want 4/10. So I'm going to move these out of the way. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 pieces here. And I want to compare these 4 pieces to these 4 pieces. Well, we have 4 pieces. They both have 4 pieces, but the ones that are bigger, you have 4 big pieces or 4 small pieces. Well, the 4 big pieces is larger than the 4 small pieces. So in this example, 4/5 is greater than 4/10. So just to recap, when you're comparing fractions with like numerators, you're going to look at the denominator and think about the bigger the denominator is, the smaller each piece is, because the more you cut it up, the smaller each piece is going to get. All right, thank you.